Hello and welcome to a special edition of Let Us Talk to You.
Yeah.
First, today's show is dedicated to the one and only coke-headed, man-child, fake wrestling promoter, let's play pretend promoter, crybaby, Tony Khan. This is going to be the rant of Tony Khan on this show today. We are joined by Alex, as normal, from WrestleBuddy, and also Albert this week from WrestleBuddy. This is Albert's first show, I believe, with us.
Yes.
And Let Us Talk to You. Yeah. Unfortunately, I tried to get Bobby on, but he didn't want to come on because he didn't want us to. He didn't want to cry when we were slagging off his idol, Tony Khan, and that. So don't worry, I've already given him the insults in DM and everything like that. So yeah. How are we then, everyone? Before we get into this,
everything is good. I'm just waiting that how we can fuck that guy up, but nothing else.
Yeah, it's fine. Fine. Well,
look, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not that much of a Tony Khan AEW hater, hardcore, but there's just a lot of mistakes that are being made right now, and it's an alternative that I was looking forward to that I feel isn't being booked to its potential, and that falls on one person's shoulders. We blamed Vince McMahon for years for every one of WWE's shortcomings. When we're talking about AEW shortcomings, they have to rest on the same shoulders, and that's Tony Khan. Yeah,
definitely. And we were obviously saying before we came onto air between me and Albert that it doesn't help with the fan base either. The fan base is really bad. You can say something and you say one thing to one person, the next thing you know, you've got about 20 people basically jumping on you because you've said one simple word about AEW. It's like they vanity search AEW. Really? And it's you say one little thing about Tony Khan or some of that, and you just jumped on. You literally just jumped on by that fan base. Like, oh no, Tony Khan's a god. He's such and such. He's the best thing ever. And it's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's literally probably high on coke every bloody week when he comes on to do the shows. So he doesn't know anything at all. And but yeah, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. But anyway, we might as well get into this then. So. Who wants to go first then with the rant then today? Which one wants to go first?
I'll just add one thing that Albert said about hater of AEW. I am actually not the hater of AEW. I am hater of Tony Khan and the fan base. Yeah. When this company started, I was super excited and I watched every single episode, even the Rampage I have watched. Every single episode in the beginning for 6 months. But the issue with the company is what is the need that in every single episode, after the show, before the show, during the show, you have to take shot on WWE? Why? Yeah. What is the need? You guys are coming from there only. Jericho is from where? From WWE only. What is the end of taking shots? You are talking about we are going to beat Raw. Dude, where the fuck you are right now? Yeah. You are on 300k something like that viewership, and you are talking about beating Raw.
Yeah. And
that is the main issue.
Yeah, and Alex, to build off of that, to be completely honest, AEW was launched and was promised to us to be an alternative. The idea was we're not WWE. We're going to be an alternative. We don't want to be WWE. We want to be something completely different. But yet every time WWE and AEW have gone head to head, and remember, there's only been one or two times that AEW has gone up against a WWE main show. For the most part, they've been against WWE's developmental show in NXT. And and we can start from there because that's where this war all started. This whole bad blood started when WWE signed a television contract and put their NXT show on in the same time slot that they had been on the WWE network for years prior to that. Yeah, AEW was announced as signing. And, what they trademarked Tuesday Night Dynamite. They were going to be on Tuesday. Now, to be fair, it was the network's decision that said, hey, we can't put you on Tuesday because we're not going to have to preempt you all the time for the NBA. You're going to have to go on Wednesdays. But that wasn't WWE. That wasn't AEW. That was the television networks that they are both signed with telling us that that's what happened. What did the fan base take that as? A declaration of war. And it's like, guys, if you're telling us you don't want to be WWE, why are you trying to compete to beat them? You don't need to beat them. Be happy with the show that you're being shown because it's an alternative. And now we've gotten to the AEW turned into this thing that it was never supposed to be.
True, absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean it's stupid as well because, as you were saying, it was originally obviously meant to be on Tuesday nights, and that was the original plans because they had all the trademarks for it, they had all the logos and everything drawn up for it and everything, and then of course they just suddenly it got moved over. But apparently it was NXT chose to come onto AEW's night and stuff like that. That was what you heard from the AEW fan base, and it was just I don't think they've got any brain cells, most of these people who are there arguing basically between them all. Like, it's got to be that, how can you physically think something when, like what Albert said, NXT was on the network for years on a Wednesday night. That was their time frame. Even if they didn't get the TV contract, they would have still have been on the network at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. And that, so really, it's how is that WWE's fault? It's not, is
right.
it? But
we can even bring that to something more current. We're talking about the AEW's booking, and Alex brought up a lot of this rests on the shoulders of Tony Khan. The idea is the idea of having what AEW's probably most marquee matchup right now. The one match that we haven't seen yet that that's talked about since MJF's become a main eventer has been MJF and Omega.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And now they're going to give that away on free TV announcing it 3 days prior to the match happening.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we doing it? You're costing your company money. This is a match that people would literally pay to see. It's this, and like somebody compared this to WCW with Hogan and Goldberg. It's that same thing. Did they sell more tickets in the Georgia Dome? Sure. But did it really make a difference? Absolutely not. Because WCW screwed themselves out of all the revenue that they would get from that matchup. Now, I get it. This is a totally different scenario. And WWE and AEW have to book differently. WWE doesn't have to worry about having people buy their pay-per-views anymore. It's on Peacock. They have your subscription. They have a set number that they're getting from that. So they don't have to worry about that. They can put bigger matches on television because their television ratings, they're literally out trying to sell their television show again. The rights are up. AEW has to make you buy pay-per-views. This is a match that people would have paid to see that they're giving away for no reason. And you can't defend that. There's just no defending that.
No, it's not. No. Yeah,
I'll go a bit behind. Like, since the inception time of this company, it started as an alternative, like Albert said. Yes, everybody wanted a new product because that time WWE was going in a very wrong tangent. But slowly it recovers lately. But they started as an alternative, and from the beginning, I am telling every single person, whoever I talk to, that it is TNA. It is nothing else. It is TNA 2.0. Because what they were doing, they signed every single wrestler who got released from WWE. They were shining like shit at that time. Like every single week, one new guy is coming. Every single week, we are seeing Adam Cole, then Daniel Bryan, then everybody is coming. And they have signed a lot of stars. But what they do with them? Nothing. There are many examples. Miro, Andrade, Alistair Black, Malakai Black, whatever Black you want to call, you can call him. but where are they? They were the top guys in NXT. Andrade and Alistair Black were the top guys in NXT. They were the NXT champions. And they make them wasted in the company. Miro went to AEW. What he got? Nothing. When he was in WWE, the push he got, he was the longest reigning United States champion, kind of, till he got dethroned by John Cena. So the fan base.
Let's be fair. Miro had one good year. He had one good year there, and then that was it. He disappeared.
Yes. And the main problem with this company is the owner. Dude, you are the owner. Behave like a owner. Behave like a owner. Don't go on Twitter and talk random shit every single day like you don't have anything to do. Some stupid ass guy will comment on something and then he come and defend. When owner is behaving like a child, so definitely fans their brain is inside their ass. AEW fan base brain is inside their ass, nothing else. That's the reason if you by mistake post a picture of Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso is greater than the Young Bucks, your entire feed will be filled up with these stupid guys. But how the fuck you say that Usos are better than Bucks? And I personally find Young Bucks very overrated. It is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Super kick, 100 super kicks, match end. That's it. It is like that.
Yeah.
So the main thing is owner, and he needs to understand that you are not in the level of WWE, and you will never be in the level of WWE. It is impossible. That company is ruling this industry from the past like 50 or something years. This company is 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old, and you are talking about beating WWE. Who you have, whatever big names you have, they are all from WWE. Tell me one guy who is the needle mover from your own company. I don't think that AMJF is a needle mover. If it is like that, then their rating will not go down below 1 million. Every week should be 1 million. If AMJF is needle mover, that is also a thing.
Yeah. Well, one of my concerns as well, and I've said this to a few people beforehand, was it doesn't really help when, even before the product started, as a UK fan, we kind of got lied to in effect, because I don't know if you guys would have seen it, obviously being over in America and India and stuff like that, but Tony made a statement out about the UK viewership, and he originally turned around and said, because the UK is obviously one of the biggest fan bases and stuff out there, we're going to give you viewership live for free and that. And they're working with one of our networks over here, which is ITV, which is like a free view channel. So everyone in the country has ITV. No matter what household you're in, you have ITV. And that was like being hyped up for months and that leading up to it as soon as they announced AEW. And then literally, I think it was 4 days before launch. So 4 days before the very first show, Tony then turns around and says, "Oh, I can't give you it for free and I can't give you it live." And now we have to pay over here to watch any AEW. We can watch it live, but we've got to have a subscription on Fight TV, which you can only get over here, either on laptop or, phone and that, right. Which then obviously you've got to pay for, I don't know, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's only $4.99, but still, that's $4.99 when we were told it was originally going to be free and live. And if you do want to watch it free, yes, fine, he managed to get an ITV deal, but it obviously airs over in America, live on a Wednesday or whatever. We get it here on a Friday evening at 11 p.m. on a Friday evening and that. And when they first of all started it off, it's heavily edited because of the ITV laws and stuff out over here for it. It's heavily, heavily edited. And like, you thought the breaks over in America, you thought the commercials and that over in America was quite a lot. ITV want to throw a commercial every bloody 5 minutes over here for whatever program you're watching. So we have the AEW going to commercial, then ITV going to commercial as well, like 5 minutes again later on or whatever it is. And they don't show blood. They don't allow swearing on it. So anything like that is all either pixelated out. Well, it used to either all be pixelated out or just bleeps out. And as well, they edited it down. So whereas, say, it's 2 hours... So you
can't watch a Moxley match?
Well, you can, but you can't see anything from it. It's mainly pixelated out or whatever, or they can cut it completely. Because this is the other thing is, when they originally started it off on ITV over here, it would start at 11 p.m, it'd be done by 12:15. So it's like they cut 45 minutes of the broadcast off and that. So it's heavily edited down. They cut out anything that they don't deem appropriate, and that's what it used to be. I haven't even seen whether it's still whether it's still on that one now. But yeah, it used to. That's what time it used to be on and that. But like I think the other day I seen it on a bloody Saturday morning over here, and that it's literally just moved around to wherever. So I don't even think like we have proper viewership over here and that. And that's not a way you go ahead and do it. The UK is, and me and Albert were talking about this beforehand, is the UK is one of the biggest fan bases in that, where we're so starved of American wrestling. we enjoy the products and that a lot more over here, and that's why, like, for example, like me, I stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning to watch WWE and that, because I appreciate it and stuff like that. Whereas, yes, I might have started watching AEW if we got it for free live when they promised us it. But obviously, if you're not going to get that, and then they turn around and say, oh, you need to pay $4.99, you can only watch it on an app, I'm not really going to want to watch it on my phone. And that, when I've then got a choice of WWE as part of my TV subscription over here for free, as part of my TV subscription over here, I get WWE included into it and that, and it's ridiculous. Because over here now as well, we've got WWE used to be on BT Sports, but BT Sports over here has been brought out by TNT Sports. So technically, we're on the same network as AEW over here.
Oh wow!
But they are They do not show AEW over here on TNT Sports. They only show WWE. So over here we have WWE airing and that, but they do not show AEW on that channel at all, even though it is owned by the American company. Because the TNT Sports over here is the American version of it, and that basically for it. So, that shows exactly how much I do believe they pissed the UK fan base off by, us not getting it live, us not basically even getting it that way. And it's stupid. It really is. And, talking about obviously TV deals and stuff like that as well, is there's obviously that rumour going around that Warner Brothers want to buy the TV rights for Raw and NXT. Right. So, and I tell you now, if that happens, it's goodbye AEW, because what people don't know, and obviously I have said this to a few AEW fans beforehand, but obviously they've just called me like liars and crap like that, is that it's wrote into the TV contracts for WWE that if, say, for example, Raw goes on to, I don't know, TNT or whatever over here, over in America, sorry, Nick Khan has it wrote into the WWE TV contracts that no other wrestling is allowed to be on the same channel or even the same network as a WWE program. So so people could turn around and say, it's easy, just put AEW on, say, TBS or whatever, and then WWE can air on TNT. The contract that Nick Khan has, which has gone through the courts and has been approved by a lawyer and everything, is they cannot be on the same network. So they will not even be able to be anywhere underneath Warner Brothers at all. And if that day ever comes, if Warner Brothers buys the rights for Raw and NXT, then that day is going to cause a meltdown within the fan base, especially when it comes to it, especially if it needs to go to streaming only, or, or they completely lose it and they completely lose TV somehow. It's going to cause a meltdown. And
just like Impact.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be all for it. But, I'm just going to say it like, lapping it up and that, but it's just that's what annoys me. That's what originally annoyed me about the whole thing, was even before the product started, we got lied to by Tony Khan. I mean, it might not have been his fault because of ITV and stuff like that, but if that deal was not put in place, why say it? If that deal wasn't finalised that we were definitely getting it live and everything like that, why say it? Why come out with it? Basically, you don't make a promise to your fan base which you're not able to fulfill. For it, which is
yes,
especially the UK fan base as well. Zero, we were talking earlier before we had gotten on here about, you mentioned it, that the UK fan base is starved for American wrestling. We knew, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that when AEW went to Wembley, they were going to pack the place out. There was no doubt in anybody's mind, and that's I think ultimately where what a lot of people are starting to get a little bit upset about when it comes to AEW. I don't want AEW to go away. I don't want there to be a demise of AEW. I want AEW to be booked well. But when you sit there and you have a whole bunch of people who are more concentrated on having some stupid attendance record being broken than putting on the best show possible for the fans in Wembley, then that's where we have a disconnect. And that's what Tony Khan was doing. He's talking about ticket sales. Why do you care so much about that? You got a monster number of people to show up for your show. That's an amazing accomplishment. If you didn't go balls to the wall and go absolutely crazy and tell everybody, we're going to break records, then everybody would have just patted you on the back and said, hey, you know what? Even I don't like AEW, but job well done. They packed the place out and everybody seemed to enjoy the show. I just don't understand why that can't be their concentration. And it's the same thing that he did, when WWE and AEW, NXT and AEW went head to head, having this meltdown on Twitter. Why are you doing this? Just if you're telling us you want to cater to a niche part of the fan base, a hardcore version of the fan base that is going to be happy with you no matter what you do, why do you care so much about beating WWE? That shouldn't be in your headspace. And the fact that they lived so rent-free in his head is the reason why we're not getting the AEW that we got the first year that was fun to watch, with fun stories and, different characters, not just a lot of the same guys we saw on WWE television for the past 5 or 6 years. New characters, exciting stuff. Look, I'm all for dream matches, but it's not selling me anymore. WCW did this great thing where they had a cruiserweight division and they put those guys on first, and it didn't matter what the stories were. It was a bonus when we got a good story told in the WCW cruiserweight division. But they put those guys on first to have a great match because that's what everybody in AEW says that they want to see, right? It's great wrestling. That's all they care about. If they would put those guys on, they would have a couple of really good 15, 8 minute match, 5 to 8 minutes. They would put on this great match, and then the rest of the show would be story. If AEW concentrated on making sure that all of their wrestlers had a constant story, and they would book more than a few weeks or out, so that these guys can get consistently pushed and be put over, then we'd be happier. This is why we're mad that we never got a Swerve versus Keith Lee one-on-one singles match to settle a feud that they've had for months. This is why we're mad at start-stop pushes for a guy like Wardlow, who's a beast and had the entire fan base saying he was the future and he was going to be a world champion in a year, and now he's basically missing from television. These are things you can't miss on, and AEW is missing on a lot of them. And it's only getting worse, and people are starting to tune out.
Absolutely true, because when they started, it was actually a very good show for 1.5 year or 2 year, I can say. When even during the pandemic, the shows were really very good. They built so many stars. Orange Cassidy was there, Jungle Boy was there, MJF is there, Ricky Stark, Wardlow. Such great storylines that you will get emotionally invested. But when they try to be WWE, there they start fucking up the things, and then they get so obsessed with WWE that the entire direction goes try to copy them, and all the guys are here only. Whoever were built properly, their original guys, I can say the AEW originals. Where are they now?
Well, I was gonna add something to that. Obviously, we know we were talking earlier on about the like they would come out and they would literally take shots at WWE every week and that. You got to think, fine, it might all be well and good taking those shots in AEW, taking those shots whilst you're part of AEW, but what happens, say, like when you leave AEW and you want to maybe go back to WWE? You ain't gonna get what you get. And a clear example of that is Jade Cargill. She never once made a single shot towards WWE while she was in, AEW. Now she's being pushed like that megastar that she is, and that, yes, people are saying, oh, but it's different with Cody in that, but people are going to be in for a rude awakening because there's still people out there who truly believe that Cody is beating Roman. Now, knowing the company WWE and knowing Triple H and that, he is not going to let somebody who smashed his throne, as a jab, who basically took a shot every single week at WWE. He, Endeavor, and Vince are not going to let somebody who's done that beat their top person in the business. Beat probably one of the best wrestlers out there at the moment. And take the belts off of him. That's the problem. Is you can take all these shots and everything because you're being told to by Tony Khan, but you do that, you've screwed the rest of your career up afterwards. Like, again, if AEW does end up folding, where are they all going to go? You've got the choice of what? New Japan, because you haven't got Ring of Honor anymore because Tony Khan owns that. So if they both fold, you've literally got what? Ring of Honor, Impact, or WWE, and Impact and WE kind of are on really good terms, so you're not going to really, sorry, NWA as well. I forgot about that, but like, if you want the big money, you're going to go to WE, and so taking all these shots at the moment and taking these weekly shots and that, and turning around and making all this crap every week up about WWE or whatever, oh yeah, we're going to beat him in the ratings, is not going to do you any favors. Especially if Chris Jericho ever wants to come back and get out Hall of Fame, or the Hardys want to come back and get out Hall of Fame. It's not, because that's the thing. Eventually, they're all going to want to come back for that Hall of Fame induction. But the way they're going about it, especially Chris Jericho, he's not going to get it. He ain't going to get that Hall of Fame induction at all.
Well, the thing with Jericho is that I think he had a safety net with Vince there, but now he doesn't have that safety net anymore.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing. So obviously, so he's potentially screwed up that Hall of Fame thing. And no matter what people say, you aim for that. If you're a professional wrestler, you aim for that WWE Hall of Fame induction, because once you've got that, you've made it. That ring or whatever. Yes. You're always then known as a WWE Hall of Famer. Whereas, what's people going to say? Oh yeah, I've been in AEW for 5. What is it? Oh yeah, what's your accomplishments? Oh, I've been in AEW for 5 years, right? But if you done something and said, I'm a WWE Hall of Famer, it's like, oh yeah, okay, brilliant. Yeah, let's get you in, let's get you on podcasts, let's get you, appearances and stuff like that. Let's get you at conventions and stuff. That's the ultimate goal for it, really. And that, is having those big matches on, say, the grandest stage of WrestleMania, or, your SummerSlams, your Survivor Series, something like that, really. Not performing for, say, 20 to 20,000, maybe up to 60,000, depending on what show you got. Not bloody 500 people in attendance, and that. And like when you classic example here, when you try to do your entrance like Edge, where you run to one side of the stage, then you go and run to the other side, and you have to stop halfway because you realise that entire side is empty, so you can't really hype anything up, and you look really bad on TV. And it's really embarrassing for you, because you're literally spotted trying to hype up one side, trying to run over to one side, realizing it's empty and having to run back. It's stupid, and that's all down to because the fan base has turned a lot of people off the product. That's the other thing. Well. You talk about these half-empty arenas and stuff like that. That's the other thing that we're the fan base isn't understanding. You're arguing about ratings, attendance, stuff like that. Why does this matter to you as a wrestling fan? Why are you look, I get it. There are very large amounts of trolls on the WWE side. I'm going to speak to that very quickly, because I want to point this out. For the past, 5 years, we've had AEW and WWE. We've had these two top companies now running against each other, right? Before that, it was really only WWE. And that AEW fan base were the ones who were completely telling every single person that watched WWE, it's horrible, it's terrible, it's absolutely the worst thing you could watch. I hope it goes out of business. I hope Vince McMahon dies. These were things that people were saying on Twitter, and on a decently consistent level, especially the Vince stuff after the whole thing came out with with his trial and all that kind of stuff. Forget about it. You couldn't go on Twitter without somebody wishing death upon Vince. And they subsequently wanted WWE to go out of business. They said there were people that said it's bad for the wrestling business. It's been bad for the wrestling business forever. Now, did you honestly believe that when AEW started, that all the diehard WWE fans that had to just eat crap from every single fan for the past 10 years online, saying that the show that they watch is absolutely atrocious, which, by the way, for a couple of years, it was pretty bad. We're not denying that. But you're going to have this big part of your fan base tell you that it's atrocious. Did you really think that they were going to take it easy on AEW? Did you really think that they weren't going to go hardcore against this company because they were looking for somebody to go after, because they had nobody to go after for the longest time? Now they have a centralized company to go after. Of course they're going to do that. If you're an AEW fan, ignore that. Because ratings and attendance don't matter. What matters is your enjoyment of the show. And the problem is that when everybody's distracted with ratings and attendance and who's getting pushed and all this, they're not realizing that the show's quality has just continued to drop.
They're not making stars anymore. They're putting on that Nick Wayne segment. Why was that on Dynamite? Why was it that long? Like, what are they trying to do? If you're telling me you don't want to be WWE, stop doing things like that. There are very easy ways to tell stories that you don't have to go that in depth or that crazy. Just do what you do best. Placate to your strengths. That's why ECW did so well. ECW had a quarter of the budget of AEW, but its fan base was rabid, and they made sure that they did everything and they possibly could to make sure that they highlighted things for that fan base. AEW can do that all day long, and they can get a consistent 800K people to start watching, and they can get other people to start thinking, hey, I like this brand of wrestling. But all they're doing is just butting heads against WWE, and it's just not doing them any good.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because now the fans are not enjoying the wrestling. They are getting too much emotionally damaged because of this AEW and WWE thing. The major issue with the fan base of both the companies, I'll say, not only AEW, even the WWE, they get personal. If you say something to their favorite wrestler or the favorite company, anything, they get too personal, and then they try to bully you online. That is the worst thing that both the fan base have, and AEW is on some another level now. WWE fan base also, yes, I will say absolutely right that there are trolls from WWE side also. But AEW fan base is like 80% and WWE is like 20%. That is the huge difference. Dude, just enjoy wrestling. Nothing else. Just enjoy wrestling. See how the show is going on. The quality is increasing or it is decreasing. If the quality is decreasing, at least tell that the show is not good. Don't defend. When someone is pooping, clean the poop. Don't eat the poop. It is very simple.
And, that's the thing. We both, when I said, hey, there was a good portion of the time where WWE wasn't good. Yes. Zero, you said yes. Alex, you nodded your head. We agree. We understand. There were points where we said it, and we were all as a fan base going, man, what you're doing right now, it's just not hitting. I'm sorry. It's just not good. We were able to admit that. This AEW fan base just refuses to do that.
Yeah. Yes. Like Roman eating dog food, that was not good. That was not good.
No. Atrocious.
Yeah, when they made Roman eat dog food and get covered in dog food.
Who will forget Great Balls of Fire and Stomping Grounds? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but no, it's just really bad. The fans just don't seem to understand what's going on, and it's. I think I was saying as well beforehand to Albert before we came on, is I've seen the 15 minutes from this week's Dynamite, and they opened at like 900K or whatever it was. And that they literally opened at 900K, and within the first 15 minutes of the show, they had dropped down to about 700. So they had lost 200K within the first 15 minutes of that show, and that basically, and then they just never maintained it.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'd like to add one thing. I just remember something.
Yeah.
Another reason for this company going downhill is the backstage issues.
Oh, absolutely.
That is something else in this company. When you will give the entire control to the wrestlers, the company will be like this only. You need hierarchy. You need people who write stories. Not everything is up to wrestlers only. And another thing, if something is going on in the backstage, what is the need that as an owner, you come publicly on social media and talk about that situation?
Yeah.
You are telling, I am talking about the Punk situation, you are telling to the people, there was actually no need. Whatever happened between Jungle Boy and Punk, it is done. Punk got fired, fine. What is the need that you come on television and saying, my life was in danger? Dude, what you are saying? Punk pull out a gun from his ass that you are telling that I am in danger, my life was in danger. It is a huge line that you are saying. It is a very big life. In what? Jungle Boy and CM Punk backstage issue, this stupid guy life got in danger.
Yeah.
So it is actually childish, man-child. He's man-child, nothing else. He's man-child.
The thing is as well is saying that, for example, is and you've actually just brought up a good point there, and it reminds me of something like over here, UK law kind of thing. If you were to mention that and you were to turn around and say, I felt my life was in danger, obviously the police would have been contacted straight away. Over here in the UK, you would have said that no matter what, the police would have been involved. And then if they had come down and they had like turned around and said, oh yeah, you know what happened, for example, and he turned around and said, oh, I literally got scared because CM Punk shouted at me or something, you know, he would have been arrested for wasting police time. Because that is not, you know, when you use those words, especially over here of, I felt like my life was in danger, you know, you're going to have the SWAT teams and everything involved. You know, you're going to have the SWAT teams, you're going to have the bloody murder teams and everything like that involved in that. And it's just, I don't know what it is like over in America or whatever. Like if you mentioned that line or whatever, but it
should be.
Yeah, it should be. But yeah, no, but it's ridiculous. And yeah, and if he had mentioned that on TV over here at the time in London, then they would have had the police and everything down there. You know, they would have had the police involved. They would have had everyone down here they would have had everyone basically at Wembley. There would have been a massive investigation. None of them would have been allowed to leave the country until it had been sorted out. You know, Punk probably would have got arrested originally. Then obviously Tony would have got arrested for wasting police time. When it came out, it was like nothing, and then maybe like, you know, or if there was an investigation there or whatever. But you know, it's like what Alex said. You don't use that line, and that you don't say that publicly. If you feel like your life is in danger, you take it through to the courts. You do some of that. You know, you deal with it internally. You don't say it publicly just to try and get that little bit of sympathy from your fan base, because I think that's what Tony was aiming for. Was he was after that sympathy from the fans of just
playing victim card.
But I had to do it. I had to fire him. Justification. He needed some sort of justification for it. And if he says my life is in danger, that's justification.
Yes. Yeah.
But you know, and Alex brings up another point too. You know, you talk about, you know, the way his interactions on Twitter. I'm going to take that one step further. Forget about Twitter. Why is Tony Khan the one who's doing media?
Yeah.
Why is he doing media? They have, professionally trained people at AEW. People who have actually trained and taken acting classes, who know how to come on to something, be a professional, and work around questions that aren't supposed to be, you know, answered. There was that whole big controversy with Ariel Helwani, where he went on that show and he asked him, like, okay, fine, that was the initial Punk situation, and we knew he wasn't going to mention anything about that. But he also danced around MJF. He also danced around questions about Cody Rhodes. Why are you going and doing media and agreeing to do these things and not at least saying, hey, look, don't ask me about these things because I'm not going to answer them. So don't even bother asking, because if you're going to ask, I'm just going to say no. At that point, then just be like, all right, the host is just going to go, well, I'm not going to ask anything, like this. He's obviously not doing that. He's not the right person to be doing these media calls. I get it. He's a fan. And I understand the idea that his heart and his passion would sell people on buying it. And I believe that it could. But he just puts his foot in his mouth too often. And we all know it's a roundabout thing. It's every question. It's, hey, how do you feel about MJF, as world champion? Well, MJF has been this great world champion. He represents us, and I think that we have the best pro wrestling. You can watch it live every Wednesday on Dynamite. And that's it. That's like his presentation. He'll say one positive thing and then just wrap it around to saying, we have the best wrestlers in the world, and you can watch them every Saturday on Collision. And it's like, just let Christopher Daniels do your media. Let somebody who, I don't know, RJ City do your media. Let Renee Paquette do your media. Put somebody on that, in front of that camera that knows what they're doing, that can present themselves well, that will present the company well. You doing this is a disservice to the company.
Yeah. I mean, like, going back to some of the other companies, like, I know, like, for example, like Impact and WWE, they actually, their social medias, for example, like the main WWE one, for example, isn't run by anyone in WWE. They pay somebody, they pay an actual fan to run that account, and that, they obviously tell them what they need posted in that, and they schedule like tweets and stuff like that. That's what you need. You need somebody like that to actually run your social media rather than the owner running it. Because, imagine bloody Vince McMahon or Triple H or whatever going on social media every week, just massive match coming up this week and stuff. I mean, yeah, Triple H goes on and he does things like when Jade Cargill signed, he was on there hyping her up.
Right, and he'll do that for the pay-per-views and stuff like that, which is fine.
Yeah, but he's not, he's like, big pay-per-view coming up. That's it. That's how he leaves it. Not like, big like Tony Khan would do, like, oh yeah, big pay-per-view coming up, and then list the entire card, and then be like, oh yeah, this is a dream match of mine. Triple H, she just comes on and just goes, for example, like Saudi Arabia, like, oh yeah, Saudi Arabia, big Saudi Arabia show coming up. We're all hyped for it. Bang, done. Make sure you tune in at whatever time it is. Done. That's it. That's all you hear from him. And that, you don't have all that like dream match and stuff like that, and then going online like, oh yeah, this is such and such, I need to do this and stuff like that, and actually arguing with people or going out there and actively blocking people to do it. Because that's the thing. Tony Khan blocked me, and that I'm blocked by Tony Khan on Twitter and by the AEW account simply because I turned around and said
I'm also blocked by AEW.
Yeah, I can't remember what I said because it's been so long, but I said something. Oh yeah, that was it. I put out, I can remember what it was. The reason why Tony Khan blocked me, I put out the Rampage results. And he commented on them and turned around and said, why are you spoiling my shows? And then blocked me. Whereas then basically everybody else, basically, you see them all over the place. You see Dave Meltzer posting them, you see Fightful posting them, you see whatever else and that. Doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't say that to them because I believe some of them are being paid off by him. And that, like,
yes.
I think I've said this before as well on this show or on another show, is Wrestling Inc., which used to be owned by Raj, that Raj girl. Wrestling Inc., Raj actually turned around and said at one point that they had an offer from Tony Khan. He was actually in there, like he had actually emailed them personally and had turned around and said, look, I will pay you X, Y, and Z amount to hype me up and to shit on WWE at all occasions, whenever you can do, really, and to spoil as much what you can about WWE and not spoil anything about AEW. And that was part of the paid media. And that's the other thing as well is, when you're being exposed as doing that, and when you're being exposed as going on and paying off the dirt sheets for it, you're not gonna end up doing that. I mean, I've made a joke before when I turned around and said, Tony, get that checkbook open. You can, if he wants to come to me with an offer, of money and stuff like that, like, oh yeah, I'll pay you, I don't know, 100,000 or whatever, like to talk about the show. I'll accept it, but I'll still shit on him at every occasion because at the end of the day, once that check's cleared. That's the thing, I'll maybe hype it for a week whilst I wait for the money to clear or whatever. But but then after that, no, fuck it. I'm not going to drop my morals just for bloody that. That's the thing, you speak true. You don't have to go out there and pay people off just to hype you up. And I think he does this for quite a few people as well, like JD from New York. I believe personally he pays him, and there's a load of others as well who I personally believe he like pays off or.
I don't think he needs to even pay JD for him to just be a homer for that company. He just hates WWE with such a blind passion. I think he'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree in that point.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the other thing as well about the tickets and that with Paul White, where he showed up at that indie show?
I think it was an OVW show.
Yeah, OVW.
Yes.
Yeah, where he literally just showed up and someone said, "Oh yeah, you can all get free tickets for being here." It's like, why go to an indie event where you've got like 50 people there? 50 to 100 people there watching this OVW show. Said, "Oh yeah, I'll give you, you can all have free tickets to AEW." That's desperation. That when your owner's sending you to go and do that to get people out, to go and get people to your show by offering free tickets and that's desperation. And like all those other offers as well when they've done it, like what was it, a couple of months back, buy a burger, get a free AEW ticket at one of the burger joints. I can't remember which one it was, but that was that one. That's desperation as well.
It is simple, Zero, that when this company matches gets 5 stars on a weekly basis by Dale Meltzer, Ray Phoenix versus Kenny Omega got 5 stars.
Yeah.
Have you seen that match? There are a lot of watches in that match. But it is 5-star match. Yeah. But Undertaker versus Triple H inside Hell in a Cell was 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
So you can understand. Can understand that how much these guys are desperate. And what is about these dream matches? Every week, dream match. Some random ass guy will come from Japan. Dream match. Every week they just do. Okay. a person who knows wrestling properly, who is a hardcore fan, who knows what is New Japan, what is Ring of Honor, what is AEW, he will understand the value of the Japanese wrestler. But as a casual fan, he will not understand who is that guy. He will just see, okay, some Asian guy is fighting. What I do? Just change the channel. It is like that. That is the reality. That Tony needs to understand that dream matches doesn't make sense. It should be like Roman versus Rock. That is the dream match that people are waiting from 4 years and still they are not getting it. That is called dream match.
Another thing to add to that as well is dream matches is not a match where you have to literally go on Google and Google who one of the people is.
I tell you, 0-0. 1 second. I tell you how he set up matches. Okay, he wakes up. He smokes his stuff like this. Like okay, who is there? Kenny, Brian, fight, Iron Man match, dream match, announce. It is like that. He announces match like that, literally.
You know what? It's funny. Look, when I was a kid, my favorite thing to do in the entire world was to sit on my floor, put on an old wrestling tape, and play with my wrestling figures in front of the TV. That was my favorite thing in the world to do. And what I used to do is I'd take all my figures, I would lay them out, and I would build a card. And in my opinion, I was the best booker in the entire world because that show was the greatest show in the history of the world. Every week that I put it on, because it totally made sense, because it was put on for an audience of me. Tony Khan is doing the same thing. And this is what Vince McMahon got accused of doing, 4 years ago? That everybody was saying WWE was awful because it's all for an audience of one. If Vince McMahon doesn't like what you're saying, then it's not going to happen. Tony Khan's doing the exact same thing, and he's being praised by the same fans that crapped all over WWE and Vince McMahon for having the same opinion. The only difference was that Vince's opinion for a very long time took WWE from being a regional territory to being the biggest wrestling company in the history of the world. Tony Khan's opinion doesn't mean anything because he hasn't proven that his opinion means more than everybody else's. He hasn't proven that people are buying the product that he wants to put out. And when they started off, remember, you said, Alex, the first 2 years were really good. Those weren't the points where Tony was booking. He had other people booking. He said he watched for a year and a half and then fully took over booking after like that 2-year period. And it's ironic that once that period ended, AEW's quality started taking a nosedive. Yes. Were there good points? Absolutely. Punk versus MJF is still one of the best wrestling feuds in the history of pro wrestling. I will not take that away from AEW. They gave both of those guys that platform to do so. But Punk is a storyteller. He knew they had to make the most of that. And MJF is the quickest learning professional wrestler that I've ever seen. He's gotten it at younger than anybody else I've ever seen in the history of my life. It's good. There's going to be good TV. But then on top of that, sprinkled throughout all the good TV, there was an exploding ring. There was Kenny Omega winning the Impact title and then not losing it back like I told everybody he wasn't going to. There was, all these little things that AEW did that just missed the mark, and people who called him out on it, and all AEW fans did was dig their heels in deeper and defend them more. And that's hurt the company so much more than booking decisions and everything else, because now Tony Khan has no idea that his product isn't as good because no one's telling him.
No.
Yes.
And anyone who does slander the product, he just blocks. He just blocks or whatever. Basically, that's the thing. He doesn't like criticism.
Yes.
Because then he'll just go along and just block you.
He's not ready. He and his fan base is not ready to digest the facts. Very simple.
Yeah.
They are not ready to digest. They are living in their own parallel universe. That Tony is the best booker of the year, and the fan base is the best fan base of the entire world. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Tony's not the best booker of the year, even according to Dave Meltzer anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think reality's going to hit when it comes to next year, and they don't get this big TV deal increase that they're hoping for, because I still keep seeing it as I've seen some of them saying like even this past week of AEW is going to get like a $1 billion TV deal. It's like, when you're not producing over 800k a week, you know, you're not going to get a $1 billion TV deal. Absolutely no chance. At most, you're going to get probably half of that, you know, maximum for it. You're not. And the thing is, as well, is they rely on that TV deal to pay for all these stars. Because, as I've always said, how do the rich stay rich? They don't spend. You know, Tony's not going to go out and spend all of his fortune that he's made or that he's obviously inherited from his dad, or getting from his dad, sorry, and that at the moment, by spending it on AEW. He's going to use that TV deal. And then when that TV deal comes down and it's not as high as they're expecting, and it's not as high as Tony's hoping for, he's going to have to start releasing people. And then, of course, then you're going to have then, if those are stars then try to get into WWE, like I said earlier on, if they've slated WWE at any point in their time, Triple H is just going to go, no, fuck you. You know, why would I let you in? You spent an entire 2-3 years in AEW calling me a dickhead or whatever, or, you know, or calling me like, you know, calling me an idiot or saying I was the worst booker ever. So why would you want to come and work for me? That's the thing. And I think that's when reality is going to finally hit, is when that TV deal doesn't come in as what they want, or even if they don't get a TV deal renewal. Because if it goes to streaming, that's going to kill a lot more fan base off. And then they're not going to have the ratings thing either, because obviously you can't get ratings for streaming. So when they haven't got the ratings to rely on, like Albert's been saying, then what they're going to say? You know, oh yeah, you know, how can you hype it up? Oh yeah, you know, they got 0.23 on the bloody demo this week rather than, you know, to WWE's 0.22 or whatever it was, you know. So they absolutely smashed him. But when it goes to streaming, because I can see that's what's going to happen, because, you know, the future is streaming. That a lot of things are going to streaming now. And especially when you've got the options of like Amazon going now to live streaming, you've got Disney going to live streaming, you've got, you know, all of them. When you've got those major networks going into that, I can personally see when it comes to this TV deal renewal next year, Warner Brothers are going to want to put them on Max. That's what I can see. Is maybe they're going to turn around and say, you know, you're not getting the numbers in. Why would we waste however many hours it is, 5-6 hours a week or whatever, when we can put something else in there? Maybe a movie, for example, and the movie's going to get over 1 million viewers when you're not even hitting 800k a week.
Yes.
You know, we can put something else in that 2-hour slot, or we can do that, and we'll shove you on HBO Max.
And Max will get that 600,000 subscriber boost, because that's who's going to go there to watch AEW.
Yeah. So Max will get that, but then obviously then the downside with Max is, and this is why a lot of people will probably like not bother it on there, because people ain't going to want to pay the Max subscription to be able to watch something which they've been able to get on TV through, you know, through TV networks and that. You ain't going to want to pay for a subscription to be able to do that. Because I spoke to a lot of people, and I said, if AEW ever went to streaming and you actually had to pay for it because it was locked behind like paywall, like for example, like Peacock, would you watch it? And they went, no, because why would we? You know, why would we pay for something that we're getting for free? And again, that's what I said earlier on about the UK thing. Why should I have to pay for something that I was promised would be free? You know, that's the thing. And then when
I'll be completely honest. I still have, you know, the way it works here is that we still have a cable network. I still have a cable box, and I have a cable box specifically to watch WWE Monday Night Raw, NXT whenever I can, SmackDown, and AEW. That's the reason why I have a cable box. Yeah. If not, I wouldn't have one, because everything else that I watch is on streaming. Eventually, it's going to get to that point. And eventually people are going to stop getting cable and stop, you know, getting that package, you know, altogether, because things are going to go to streaming. But right now, these cable networks are very desperate to keep a lot of this stuff on the, you know, the networks, because it's going to draw, because they don't want to go under. But if the numbers aren't hitting and AEW is constantly going down, because let's face it, we talk about Dynamite, and Dynamite and all well and good, but Rampage and Collision are doing awful.
Yeah.
They're doing awful. And, you know, Collision started off as trying to be SmackDown, and it's become Thunder. You know, it's just not hitting anymore. Punk left, and the quality of the show took a hit, and then nobody gave it a chance after that.
No. Well, that whole show was dedicated to Punk, wasn't it? It was designed for Punk, and now since they fired him, what's the point in it anymore? You know?
And that's the thing, it's not just that that their main show isn't maintaining 1 million viewers. It's that their other shows aren't even maintaining 500,000 viewers, and that's not a good precedent that you want to be set. That means that shows what your hardcore fan base is. That means at minimum, the people that are going to be watching your show every week is going to be around 300 to 500K. They're going to be. And then the rest of those people that are watching, this is what, these other, these wrestling fans, Zero, we talked about this right before we came on. These wrestling fans who think that they know more than everybody else. Yes. They're not understanding because they're sitting there saying there's no such thing as the casual fan. Well, if there's no such thing as the casual fan, where are 400,000 people who watch Dynamite coming from almost every week? Because it's not the same. It can't be the same fans, because if it's going to be that standard 500K that's watching Rampage and watching Dynamite, right? And then that means that maybe there's going to be an extra 200K that are going to watch because they're only going to watch Dynamite. All the rest of those other people, that fluctuation, those are called casual fans. Yes. That's what they're failing to lock in every week. That's why they're not hitting that 900 or a million mark every week. That's what they're failing to get.
Yeah.
We cover everything and we miss like 3 to 4 points. And I think after that, all the negative points of AEW will be covered. Number one, which was missed, is overhyping the matches.
Yeah.
Whatever big matches they had, they overhype the match. Actually, I also get excited sometimes. But when I see the match is just a mess. Yeah. I will give you 3 examples. Number 1 was the death match between Moxley and Omega. Everyone knows what happened in that match.
Sparklers.
Second was Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts, what happened? Jericho falls off on a couch.
It was cardboard.
Yes.
And they showed the cardboard as well. That was horrendous.
Yes. And the third was some Mimosa Mayhem match. Something happened with orange juice or something like that.
Yep.
So make matches memorable. War games. People are waiting to see that. Hell in a Cell. People are waiting to see that. Yes. Ladder matches, Money in the Bank matches, Elimination Chamber matches. Why people are excited to see? Because it is an attraction. It is not a weekly show that you are just throwing it off because the ratings, the one spike that you will get because of one single match. Number 2 is the botches. The amount of botches this company have, I don't think so any other company have in the history of professional wrestling. The botches are blatantly visible. You are punching your hand, bro. Not face. You're like doing like this. If you guys have watched, Ray Phoenix was punching his own hand. It was clearly visible. The Dark Order botch, everybody remembers what happened when he was hitting Dustin Rhodes on the ring.
Yeah.
And it is a huge company. You are considering yourself as a competition of WWE. At least take care of the botches. Take care of the safety. Safety is also an issue in this company.
Moxley called it out.
Yes. There's no safety in the company. There are many incidents that people remember. Matt Hardy got concussion. Moxley got concussion. Punk got concussion. Everybody got concussion in this company. Yeah. And dude, you are hiring those guys who had neck injuries in the past. That's why WWE was not giving them proper chance. And you are hiring one by one. Okay, they are fighting there. It is God's grace that nothing happened. And I hope that nothing happened to them. But it is a big risk. It is a big risk that you are giving those guys chance who had neck injuries. That these fans are like completely ignoring. These are the fact that they need to understand that this is the reason of the downfall of the company, because they are just ignoring all the negative points. They're just ignoring all the negative.
And it's funny because you mentioned the botches. It's not they're not botching on like these big, ultra high risk things. Those are all controlled and they're done well. They're botching on regular moves because instead of, the regular art of pro wrestling of, just, okay, let's have a match. The reason why there's things called rest holds is so that wrestlers can rest, so that they're not so tired and so slippery that when they're going to do a pile driver, and for some reason, I don't know why, after Stone Cold got his neck injury, that they didn't just ban the pile driver where you drop to your butt. unless you're a guy like Rikishi who's got way more padding down there than any other human being possible.
Yes.
You shouldn't be doing that. And we see that with like Phoenix dropping Moxley on his head twice after Moxley was already concussed.
Yes.
You know, like it's and those are the moves that they're messing up on because they're tired, because they're fitting in 17 minutes of wrestling in an 8-minute match.
And another thing, what is the need of having so many shows? If only Dynamite was there, I think they'll get 1 million plus. They started Dynamite, then Dark Elevation, then Rampage, then Collision. What? You don't have brand split, you don't have 2 titles or something like that, nothing. You are just one show with same guys every week. There are not other people getting chances. The same guys are coming every single week. What is the need of 5 shows? Now at least Dark and Elevation got shut down because nobody was watching that shit. Even when you see the commentary of that show, even the commentators are not interested what is going on inside the ring. They are talking some random ass shit only. This Taz and Excalibur, they are talking in their own world only. That, oh, okay, my home have this, like that. Now, Rampage and Collision, like Zero and Albert, you both said, it was designed for Punk.
Yeah.
And Punk left. After like a month, I think so. After the launch of Collision, I think after a month or so, he just left. And now the show is just going downhill. Ring of Honor going downhill. Rampage going downhill. Only Dynamite they have. So at least repair those mistakes that you have done.
Yeah.
Not shit on other company or other wrestlers or fans or anything. Just focus on your own company. I also hope that this company grows in future. But the issue is this stupid curly hair guy who smokes crack.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all well and good. It's good WWE having competition because since they've had the competition, they've stepped up the shows. You know, like what we were saying, it was crap during those couple of years. Well, I wouldn't say crap, but you know, it was getting really poor during those couple of years. And that,
they got bad.
Yeah, it got bad. Yeah, but then it's now they've got that competition. They're stepping it up like that NXT, which we had last week or whatever it was, or the week before. You would never in a lifetime think you're going to have Undertaker show up on a random NXT. You know, if anyone ever said that beforehand, before AEW existed, you would turn around and say, nah, bullshit, you know, nah, basically. But then as soon as it was, it's going against AEW, you know, you're going against the competition, it's then, oh, actually, yeah, it could happen. You know, that. And then, you know.
How about this one? 3 years ago, do you think that there was a chance that anybody would have said that if NXT ran a show with 5 women's matches, it would have beat AEW's flagship show with Edge and Ric Flair both on that show?
Never
in a million years. And here we are, 5 women's matches on NXT, and it beat AEW, which featured. And now, by the way, look, my cousin is, he was a wrestling fan for a really long time. He fell off. One of his friends must have had tickets to go to AEW. He went. He was at AEW on Wednesday. And he said, the funniest thing to me is he was like, it's so funny because it feels like I'm still in 1998 because Rob Van Dam, Edge, the Hardy Boys, Christian, Sting, Ric Flair, they're all here. And I was like, dude, I'm glad for your sake that you went to a show where you knew a whole bunch of people, Jericho. And he was like, yeah, at least I did. He was like, but my friend was telling me about all these new guys that they have. And the show is just a whole bunch of guys that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And the thing is, as well, is obviously going back to that as well, is going back to these 5 women matches. 2 of them on there is women. 2 matches on there was women who are in that breakout tournament. So they've not even been in his business for a year, if you think about it, because you've had. So they're not even established names or anything like that. Fine, you had Becky Lynch in one of the matches, which is obviously an established name in that. But then what? The other ones was it's all just NXT people. You haven't had any, there's no women's matches, short of Becky Lynch. Nobody else in there is like a household name, unless you know NXT. And they still managed to beat AEW's flagship show.
Just remember, Zero, when NXT got rebooted, after NXT lost many weeks with AEW in the ratings, and the AEW fan base were super happy that time. Yeah. They were coming through their ass. That was that era.
Yeah.
But when NXT got rebooted and all the new guys came that nobody knew who are they. Has anybody thought that they will start beating AEW? Still, I can say that there are many WWE fans, even the WWE hardcore fans, they don't know who is Carmelo Hayes. They don't know who is Ilya Dragunov. That show is beating the flagship show of the competition, so-called competition of WWE. And now you are calling that why you bring Undertaker, why you bring it is not getting a million and all this thing. You lost. Don't cry. You lost. Accept the defeat and try to make your show better. Not cry in the name of Cena or Taker.
No, it's just stupid, and it does not help, obviously, because of Tony Khan and all of his like hyping up and then making excuse after excuse after excuse to what happens. But I mean, we could go on if we had hours, but we haven't got hours because obviously Alex is, I know it's like early hours of the morning for him. So
yes.
But yeah, I'm basically like, if I carry on, I'm just going to be going for hours. So I'm going my bit here.
Same here. I can also go.
Have you got anything else to add or anything like that, Albert? Then before we come off then today.
Oh yeah. So just real quick, just to throw this out there. Look, I think that there's a lot of positive that can come from AEW. I think that the fan base is really the biggest issue. And this is something that I was actually doing, and I hadn't mentioned this. I usually talk about my watching habits when it comes to wrestling on Twitter a lot, but I decided to do something and not broadcast it just because I wanted to just, keep it fresh in my mind, but I didn't want anybody to think that I had like some sort of a bias. But I went back and I started watching old WWE Raw episodes, and it was right around the old higher power gimmick. When Vince McMahon got revealed as the higher power. So I started watching from there, only Raw, not the pay-per-views, just Raw. And I started to think to myself, okay, what were they doing back then that WWE and AEW can recapture? And I realized something. They can't anymore because the internet exists. And there were so many times where they would say, we're going to have a dog collar match. And it never happened because the guys got jumped 10 seconds into the match. And that was it. We're going to have, this kind of a match. And it didn't happen. Or we're going to have this guy come out and he didn't do it. And now wrestling fans are just going to bitch, moan, and complain whenever these things are promised. Meanwhile, these are things that are written into the show. Wrestling fans have evolved so much that they think they know better than everything else. And that's the reason why AEW is not going to reach the pinnacle or the success, because they're not going after these casual fans who don't care about the minutia. That's what WWE is great at. That's like 15 video packages, an episode. Yeah, because they're reminding fans what they, the big moments. They're driving them into their fan base to make the fans remember what's happening. AEW is not doing that, and they're placating to a bunch of fans who already are going to watch their product no matter what happens. If AEW doesn't change their strategy quick, it's going to start going downhill even worse. I don't want to see that.
No, definitely not. I mean, this is the thing is, I've always said this all along when people have told me, I said, oh, you're just a hater. It's like, I'm not a hater. I just don't watch it because it doesn't appeal to me. Why would I watch something that doesn't do it that way? And if I was a hater of the product, why would I allow, Bobby, which is obviously normally on here with us, why would I have him cover AEW every week? Through the main Twitter account. Bobby has full access to that account, and as I obviously understand, I'm kind of like, just a wrestling reporter and stuff and that, but obviously it is all registered underneath a legit company over in the UK and that. So why would I allow one of my employees to come on using my company name, to tweet out about a show if I was a hater? I've made it quite clear. I don't watch the product because it doesn't appeal to me. But I know I've got some people who follow me, and I know there is people out there who like the product. So I've employed somebody who likes the product, who watches the product, to simply, comment, simply come on, tweet out about it, do articles about it, do whatever he wants to do. Basically, I don't care what he wants to do. It's not hate at all. There's nothing there, hate-wise. It's simply just, I don't want to watch it because it doesn't appeal to me. But then if I say that on Twitter, it's you're a hater. You're a hater. You just, you don't know what proper wrestling is, and that it's like, well, maybe I don't want to watch that. Maybe I've grown up watching WWE, I like the product. I want to be sports entertained, as it's known. Rather than just watching 500 super kicks and bloody however many Canadian destroyers you can fit into a match. Really, that's
Moxley bleeding every week.
Yeah, Moxley bleeding every week. Yeah, that isn't something that appeals to me. So why would I watch something that doesn't appeal to me? I've got somebody else in the company who can do that, who gets the coverage out there, gets what I need out there, basically. But I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this as well when it goes out. But
I'll add one last thing. I am a WWE fan, 100%, and I am a TNA fan also. From 2002 till 2012, I watched TNA regularly, and I can say, with a lot of proud, that TNA was far, far, far better than AEW. Far better. They had their own matches, their own gimmick matches, but even in UK, TNA beat WWE in ratings to some extent. So that is very big thing. And the issue.
And their main show, not their NXT show, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, their main show. Yes, and they made stars: AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, James Storm, Christian Cage. These are TNA stars. Bully Ray, the best heel, I can say, the best heel of all time. I can say he's that kind of heel. LA Knight, from where he comes, Eli Drake. He is LA Knight now. So they are from TNA. What AEW is doing, and I honestly saying, guys, I feel that when this TNA is getting rebooted now, right?
Yeah.
They are coming back now.
Yeah.
Just imagine that TNA started beating AEW in ratings. Then what will happen?
Yeah, that's going to be.
Listen,
I will be the happiest person.
If CM Punk and Will Ospreay want to see how much of needle movers they are, go to TNA.
Yes, I will be the happiest person if TNA will beat AEW. I don't need WWE to beat AEW because they are far behind. Yeah. But TNA, I would love to see TNA fucking up Tony Khan's ass.
And I mean, this what you were saying that as well is also as well from a reporter standpoint as well. I find that Impact, for example, obviously Impact at the moment, but going to be TNA soon. They're a lot more welcoming of the reporter community. I've got people following me from TNA, well, Impact now still, and that they're in my DMs. They talk to me. I get emails down weekly from somebody who works at Impact and that at the moment, checking in and asking whether we want interviews and stuff with stars. You try to get hold of AEW, you get nothing. You just get blocked.
Yes, absolutely true. They don't reply. They don't reply.
Yeah, they don't reply at all. And that, whereas Impact and that actually physically reach out to you. I didn't even contact Impact at first. When I started getting on my Impact people, I didn't even reach out to Impact. Impact came to me. They found me and came to me because they want that. They want that media coverage. They want all that, and they don't care whether you say bad things about them. They don't say whatever. They actively turn around and say, the person who I have contact with turns around and says, if you make any articles about us, can you send me the articles and I will send this to management. I'll send this to Scott. I'll send this on to whoever else in that really in there. And that's how it is. Whereas AEW, you literally say one bad thing about them and you're behind the block. And
another thing, Zero, that if you see Impact on regular basis, the content they have is the best, even better than WWE. The matches that they have, even for example, 8 to 10 matches they have, not 16 matches in a pay-per-view like AEW. Some random match they just throw. No, even if they have 10 matches, every single match have a storyline behind it. Yeah. There is a reason that the match is happening. Not okay, dream match. Okay, you dream match. Not like that.
Yeah.
They are really good. But the issue is they don't get a lot of eyes. They don't get a lot of spotlight. Because from when Impact went downhill from 13-14, people are not giving it a chance, and they deserve a chance. They deserve a chance.
Yeah. it needs that chance. But yeah, I guess then that's our rant over. Then we've done an hour and 15 ranted about Tony Khan and AEW. So it's been a productive show, I'd say. Before we go off, then we might as well do the normal ending to the show, what we normally do. So I know it's. I'm going to ask Alex. I'm going to ask, but tell us where we can find you. So
nowhere. Like I always say in every single episode, nowhere. Just subscribe this channel. If you will not subscribe this channel, then Tony Khan will come in your dream and put cocaine inside your ass.
That's what we get every week. That's what we get every week. Albert, do you want to tell us where we can find you?
Sure. Every Sunday, I'm on the Positively Awesome Wrestling Cast with Jimmy Bebe and our buddy Tidy. And you can find me on my own channel at the Slam Sessions Network on YouTube. A lot of wrestling figure content right now, but there's also I'll come on and do some live streams and kind of talk to everybody just like we talked to you guys today. So come and join me over there, like and subscribe.
Yeah. So yeah, we all need to do that, and don't forget you can find myself at News0 on Twitter. That's about it, really. I don't really use any other platforms now. Well, we have them, but I never bother using them. So I was there. So so another successful stream. Thank you guys for this week, and thank you for everyone tuning in to Let Us Talk to You. Let's do that. So goodbye from Zero.